If you're a seller and Amazon is rejecting your invoices, often the reason is that it's missing something that's not actually written in Amazon's published requirements anywhere. In this video, I'm going to share exactly what I've learned from helping hundreds of product brands get their invoices approved and from direct conversations with Amazon employees about what they actually want to see on invoices, including the items that aren't in their published rules anywhere. I'll also show you what to do when you're buying from a distributor instead of a manufacturer directly, exactly what to say to your manufacturer if your invoice has been rejected and you need them to change it, and the specific mistakes that cause brands to get stuck in a rejection loop so you can avoid all of them. I'm even sharing 2 free checklists, one for you to use when reviewing your own invoice, or you can share it with another member of your team, and one designed to hand directly to your manufacturer so they know exactly what Amazon is looking for. Think about a combination lock. You can have 9 out of 10 numbers exactly right and the lock still won't open. It doesn't matter how close you are, it either opens or it doesn't. Amazon's invoice review process kind of works the same way. There's a specific set of things Amazon wants to see on that document, and if even one of them is missing, the whole submission might get rejected. And here's what makes this tricky. Amazon doesn't always tell you what you're missing. Sometimes they will share the reason or a clue to the reason, but sometimes you just get a rejection email. So brands go back to their supplier, get a revised invoice, resubmit it, and get rejected again. You have to know each item Amazon is looking for, and that's what this video is going to fix. Invoices are Amazon's way to verify that sellers are sourcing real products from legitimate suppliers. They ask for them quite a bit. Sometimes it's in brand registry applications, category ungating approvals, authenticity dispute responses, for example. They'll also want to see them if Amazon ever loses your inventory and they have to reimburse you. Sometimes invoices get approved without every single item being perfect, but you don't want to give them any reason to reject it. If you're a product brand working with a contract manufacturer, most of the time this won't be a problem and manufacturers will edit your invoices per your request so that it can meet Amazon's requirements. For sellers who are not product brands but are just resellers, they're the ones who can get in really bad situations with this. They have to make sure to never buy inventory with the intent to sell it on Amazon unless you can actually get invoices that meet Amazon's requirements ahead of time. Let's get into exactly what needs to be on there. I'm going to walk you through a sample invoice and show you each item Amazon wants to see. At the end of the video, there are 2 free checklists you can download, one to audit your own invoice and one to send directly to your manufacturer. They are similar, but the manufacturer version is written specifically for them. It focuses on what they need to add or change and leaves out the parts that really only apply to you as an Amazon seller. I've got this template in a Google Doc that's easy to share. You can download it using the link in the description. I'm going to walk you through a slightly different one in Canva since the format there is just a little bit easier to show in a video. So here's an example invoice. In the version you download, it comes as a list and then it has little numbers referencing each part of the invoice. Now, the exact formatting and color scheme doesn't matter here. All invoices look a little different. Just let your manufacturer do whatever format they normally use. It's the information that matters. At the top, you want the manufacturer's name, phone number, email, address, and website. It's really important that the phone number and email actually work. Amazon will often call or email the manufacturer directly to verify that the invoice is real and the information is accurate. If they don't pick up the phone or respond to emails, Amazon will reject the invoice. You'll get an email saying, your invoice could not be verified. So make sure your manufacturer is actually going to respond if Amazon reaches out. Sometimes for my clients, I'll even call the number on the invoice myself just to make sure someone's answering. The address should look legitimate too. Plug it into Google Earth and confirm that it looks like a real commercial location, a warehouse, or an office. It shouldn't look like a residential address. It can't be somebody's house. You'll see your company's information. This needs to match exactly what's in your Seller Central account. Your official business name, address, and legal entity. It should be an exact match. I'll show you where to find that in Seller Central. If you're in the new Seller Central, you click on the circle with the 3 little dots in the corner, go to Settings in the dropdown, and then Account Settings. If you're on the classic Seller Central, then it will look a little bit different. You would hover over the gear icon and select Account Info. Now, at this point, it'll look the same whether you're on the new Seller Central or the old one, and then select Business Information. And you can click Legal Entity, and it will have your legal business name there along with the business address and phone number. Have that exact information on the invoice too. Over here is the date. Every invoice has a date and it has to be within 180 days, which is 6 months, of when Amazon is reviewing it. Amazon won't approve an invoice that's older than that unless they specifically specify that it can be older. Also, notice that it just says invoice at the top. If it says pro forma invoice or purchase order, Amazon will not approve it. So now we have the itemized part of the invoice. You'll see the product names, quantity, price, and totals. A few things here. So first, the product name should somewhat describe the product. Occasionally, Amazon will come back and say that the invoice doesn't match the product that you're trying to list. If you have that, put the ASIN in the product name, and that'll typically fix that 100%. Most invoices in the beginning don't actually have the ASINs in there, and that's normal. So I usually would only add that if it seems like that's the problem. Now the quantity needs to show 10 or more units of each product. That's Amazon's requirement. It can't be fewer than 10 or it won't get approved. The pricing should make sense. If the numbers look totally off from what you'd expect, that's a red flag from Amazon. Now Amazon does say you're allowed to redact the pricing information, but I actually recommend against it. It seems to make it less likely for them to approve the invoice, and a lot of people in the industry, if you Google it, actually report that redacting prices can be viewed as tampering, even though Amazon has said it's allowed. Now, down here, this is the piece that's most often missing. When manufacturers send invoices, they typically send them before payment, and then they never go back and update them to show that the invoice has actually been paid. Or if they do update them, they don't send you the updated invoice. Amazon wants the invoice to show that it's been paid. And based on my direct conversations with our Amazon contacts, what I've seen over and over again is that they want three specific things: the payment amount, the payment date, and the payment method. You can see here you have all three. Got the payment amount, that matches the total. There's a balance showing 0. A partial payment, by the way, will not get approved. The payment date is listed, and the payment method shows it was paid by bank transfer, and we even have the account number and routing number there. If the invoice hasn't been paid yet, Amazon will not approve it. To them, that's just a purchase order. It has to already be paid. And down at the bottom, there are payment terms and conditions. The payment terms are really good to have on there. The more you have, the easier it will be for Amazon to know that this is a real invoice and they can go ahead and sign off on it. Some things that won't work. Receipts will not work. You need to have a real invoice from your supplier. If you're just buying stuff on discount from a physical retail store, that's not going to work for selling on Amazon. Pro forma invoices and purchase orders will not work. Those are essentially just a quote. Amazon says the invoice has to show a completed, finalized transaction. If your invoice hasn't been paid yet, even if it says invoice on it, Amazon treats that as a purchase order and they will not approve it. The invoice cannot be in an editable file format. So no Word docs, no Excel files. It needs to be submitted as a PDF or an image file. In most cases, the invoice does need to be within 180 days. However, there are some times when the requirement is actually 365 days. And of course, don't alter the invoice either. Have the manufacturer make any changes using their normal invoicing software. Amazon has ways of detecting when a document has been digitally manipulated, including reading the file's metadata. And if they find signs of tampering, the invoice will be, of course, rejected. And that brings us to a good point about what to say and how to explain this all to your manufacturer if you need them to make changes. If your invoice has already been rejected, the most important thing here is to identify every single thing that needs to change before you reach out to your manufacturer. Don't go back to them with one change, get a revised invoice, submit it, have it be rejected again, and then have to go back to them with another fix. That process can take weeks. It can go on multiple times. It puts your account approvals on hold. And after a while, your manufacturer is going to start getting frustrated and maybe a little bit annoyed with all the back and forth. So before you contact them, go through the checklist yourself and compare every single item against your current invoice. Write down everything that's missing or doesn't match. Then reach out to your manufacturer with one clear, complete list of everything that needs to be added or changed. Along with that list, I'd recommend sending them the manufacturer checklist that I've included as a free download below in the description. You'll want to fill in your company's information first, your legal entity name, address, phone, email, and website exactly as they appear in the Seller Central account before sending it. That way your manufacturer just needs to match what's already filled in. The checklist also includes an example invoice so they can see exactly how each item usually appears on an invoice. If they tell you that, oh, we've had other brands that have used these and they've gotten approved just fine, just tell them that in your case, they're taking a little bit more scrutiny and they want you to have a little bit more information on there. The checklist also shows that you're not just making up these changes. These are Amazon's requirements, and this was prepped by an agency partner who deals with this a lot. They might actually really appreciate having the checklist so that they can know what the latest requirements are. If they work with a lot of brands that sell on Amazon, they might even just want to have all their invoices include this information by default so they don't have to revise invoices for all their customers in the future. Now, if you're starting with a new manufacturer, you can send the checklist to them before you even place your first order with them. Ask them up front whether they can produce invoices that meet these requirements and whether they're willing to update invoices with additional information if Amazon ever requests it down the road. It's better to have that conversation first so it's not a surprise. Now, if you're not buying directly from a brand or manufacturer, if you're buying from a distributor, you'll need more than just your invoice from the distributor. Amazon needs to be able to see the full supply chain. So that means you need your invoice from the distributor, and the distributor will need to provide you an invoice showing where they got the product from. Typically, that means the invoice from the manufacturer to them. That second invoice is what establishes the chain of custody. Without it, Amazon can't verify that the products came from a legitimate source, and they'll likely just reject them. If you're in this situation, reach out to your distributor and ask for both. Most distributors deal with Amazon sellers all the time, and they already know this requirement, and they can provide it just fine. If you've gone through everything in this video and you feel like your invoice meets all the requirements, but Amazon is still not approving it, it might be worth having someone else take a look at it. My team and I at 5 Star Commerce review these all the time, and we offer any product brand 30 minutes with one of our experts for free. So just go to 5starcommerce.com, schedule a call, and just note that you want someone to review your invoice because it keeps getting rejected. We'll get on a screen share and we can go through it together. And if everything looks correct to us and Amazon still isn't moving on it, as a verified Amazon partner agency, we do have ways to escalate these situations that most sellers just don't have access to. And we work on an hourly basis with no minimum, so you can use us as much or as little as you need. If you haven't already, make sure to grab the 2 free checklists I mentioned. The first one is the self-audit checklist. Go through that yourself and check your current invoice against every item on the list before you submit anything to Amazon again or send anything to your manufacturer. And of course, the second one is the manufacturer checklist. Fill in your company information first and then send it to your manufacturer so they know exactly what Amazon is looking for and they can make all the changes you need in one revision. Both checklists also include an annotated example invoice so you can see how each item might actually appear on a real document. The link to download both is in the description below. And now that you know exactly what Amazon needs on your invoices, the next step is making sure the rest of your setup is done right. In my video on the first 3 months of setting up your brand on Amazon, I walk through everything from account setup to your first launch, the right order to do things, what most brands get wrong, and how to avoid the mistakes that slow things down out of the gate. Click right here to watch that video next.